pen. Just get started with some practice. You can stretch up, settle in, lengthen your spine, relax your shoulders. And just allow your mind to settle into the place where your body is. Take a few slow and gentle breaths. Let's set an intention for this session that whatever is for your highest and best, may it come through. May you find what serves your life in the present circumstances in the best way. Take 3 slow and gentle breaths and slowly transition out. Welcome, everyone. It might be nice if you can keep your cameras on, and if you can't, I completely understand. It's okay to do that as well. But if it is possible, it'll be nice to see some faces. Hi, Dave. Thank you. So welcome. Hi, Richa. Thank you. So we'll get started. So we have been doing a few practices in the past few months. For someone who is newly joining, who has never attended any of the other practice sessions, it's absolutely fine. We begin from wherever we are. So there's no perfect time to start. It's not a race that we need to reach somewhere. So it's absolutely fine if you're just attending it for the first time and you have no idea of the practices we have done earlier. I'll be touching upon some of them today. So we have done basically see, hear, feel as a practice. We have done feel, rest, and we have done auto move. These are 3 practices. Now, when I say a practice, what it means is they are meditation techniques which help us build the skill of mindfulness. And mindfulness is an attentional skill. So each of these practices have a focus range, something that we focus on when we are practicing, and a distraction range, everything else that we're not supposed to focus on when we are practicing. And the whole practice is about bringing our attention back to whatever is our focus range. So in see, hear, feel, everything is a focus. We focus on one experience for a few seconds and we go where our mind takes us. In feel, rest, we focus on restful, relaxing experiences in the body. And in auto move, we focused on the motor movements of the body. Anything that is happening by itself in the body, like my hand is moving by itself. So we are using that as an anchor point to build our attentional skill. Okay, in brief, that is what it is. So coming to why do we have a session on practice in daily life? Longer periods of practice are very, very important, but the ultimate goal is to integrate practice into daily life. We don't want to have mindfulness here and life here. You want to have mindfulness happening in your life. That is the ultimate goal. Why all of us are practicing. We want to be happier. We want to be happy irrespective of outside conditions. And that is the primary reason we all practice. So we want to integrate it into everything we are doing. So today's session is about how we can do that. So we'll just get started with a little slide. And if people can just put into the chat or just unmute and share. How many of you are practicing every day right now? At least a few minutes every day? Yeah, yeah. I know a few others are also doing it regularly. Anyone who is totally not practicing, and this is absolutely fine. It's just for you to reflect. It's absolutely fine not to be practicing at all also. As much as possible, yes. And sometimes our life circumstances are such that we can't practice every day, right? When I say practice here, I mean dedicated time for practice, where you're setting aside, you're going in silence and you're sitting and practicing, right? And life will happen. We will get sick. We will have relatives. We will be in hospitals. We will be traveling. We will be busy with deadlines. And those are the times when we need practice the most and when we don't remember to practice. That is also the other reason why we learn to do these practices into everything we are doing, so that we are able to embody it at times like that in our daily life. So coming to practice in daily life, how it looks. Mindfulness in daily life is two parts. One is formal practice, one is informal practice. So formal practice is when you're able to get that space and time where you're quiet and you can sit and practice by yourself. Usually what is given as a formal practice is 10 minutes or more of practice is considered as formal practice. Okay. And you're picking a practice. Excuse me. Just give me a second. Okay. So a formal practice is 10 minutes or more, where you are having a dedicated practice period, a practice space where you're sitting in silence and you're doing the practice. Now, informal practice are of two types. One is a micro hit, which is a short burst of practice, can be 30 seconds of practice or up to 10 minutes of practice. Second is a background practice. As you're doing a task, can you practice? Okay. Now, when I say practice again, it means nothing but training our attention to stay with what is in front of us. So right now I sneezed. Okay. This is being live streamed. There are a bunch of people here. Automatic thought was like, damn, what timing. Okay. And instantly your mind goes into a spiral sometimes. So just being able to ground yourself. And what I used to ground myself was a sip of water. I just told, just give me a minute. I had a sip of water, and that is a micro hit in some senses, because my entire attention was just on drinking that water, right? Entire attention was on one anchor at that point. So that's a micro hit. A background practice is where 80% of your attention is on the task and 20% on the practice. Now, what would a background practice look like right now as you're listening to me? You're listening, you're probably having your own thoughts. There could be other disturbances, distractions. Okay, what I need to do next, etc. Now, can you put 20% on a technique that you've learned till now? It can be here, it can be anchoring into the sound of my voice, it can be anchoring into the weight of your body, right? Your attention has enough real estate to hold both the task and practice in itself, right? So just try doing that. We'll get into how to do these practices, but basically there's formal practice and formal practice, and they're separated based on how you're placing your attention. In a formal practice, entire attention on the practice. Informal practice and micro hits, entire attention on the practice, even if it is 30 seconds. Background practice, a lot of attention on the task, 20% on the practice. That's how practice is split. Okay. Now, formal is usually done as stillness. You can do it even while walking. Walking meditation is also a formal practice in some senses. A micro hit is basically something you can do in motion, or you can also do it in stillness. When you open your computer in the morning, just briefly, can you look at the screen? That's a micro hit, right? Right now, can you drop into a practice? Without thinking which practice you're going to do, can you just anchor into one experience in real time? Can be the sound of my voice, the weight of your body on the chair, any sensation you feel in the body, just drop into practice. Now come out. That's a micro hit. That's as short as a micro hit can be. Okay. So it is basically quality over quantity when you're doing micro hits. They're very, very powerful. They're very pocket sized, but your entire attention is on the practice. Okay. So if you can put into the chat, which practice did you do at that point? What was your anchor? What did you focus on? Breathing, yes. My voice, yes. So you can use anything in your environment to anchor into to do a micro hit. Okay. From perspective, it can be see, it can be hear, it can be feel, where see is a visual experience outside of you. Hear can be sounds or thoughts, and feel is physical or emotional body sensations, right? Touch points. Yeah, they've said touch points. It becomes very helpful for grounding. When you are very anxious, a very simple micro hit to do is to hold on or touch a table or touch any surface for a few seconds, feel that sensation of that surface, and you can even use the label feel to anchor your attention into it. Why do we use labels? So that the attention doesn't move away into other things very quickly. That's why we use a word like see, hear, or feel. Okay. So, yes, Ritu.
Preeti, I have a question. Supposing I'm washing dishes,
Yeah.
and if I drop into the practice now, would that be a background practice or will it be a micro hit? And my second question is, if I'm washing dishes,
Yeah.
do I have to do a see, hair, feel separately? Because can't it be together? Because if I'm washing a dish, I'm touching the utensil to
Yeah.
understand it's clean.
Yeah.
I'm the pressure of the water, the temperature of the water, and also the hair because there is the trickling of the water
Yeah.
and the see because I have to see whether the dish is
Yeah.
clean or not. So now I've
Yeah.
all the three senses working together.
Yeah.
How do I integrate
Yeah.
that?
It's a beautiful question. And that is why we are here today to talk about this, because a lot of times we spend a lot of time wondering which practice to do. Okay. Because, sometimes, okay. And a lot of times we also scroll through YouTube or anything else looking for practices that, okay, maybe this is better, this is better, this is better. The key to picking a practice strategy is threefold. Okay. Interest, opportunity, and necessity. Interest is whatever is interesting for you in your life right now. Like there is a phase like right now for me, loving kindness practices are very interesting. Okay. So automatically my motivation to practice is very high when I'm doing a loving kindness practice. So I'll stay with it. Opportunity is if you are driving, a feel rest practice might not be ideal for you to do, right? An opportunity would be right now as you're washing dishes, the opportunity is you have a lot of feel, lot of hear, lot of see, you can do a see, hear, feel practice. Necessity is I'm very tired, I can't even lift my finger, I don't want to do anything, I'm just going to focus on rest. So using interest, opportunity, or necessity to pick a practice is one way of doing it, right? That way you have to cultivate your own way of finding practices. The second thing is in the question you asked me about when I'm doing dishes, why should I only stay with one anchor point or can I go through all of it? Is it a micro hit or background practice? Two questions, right? It becomes a micro hit when your entire focus is only on the practice and your dishes is happening in the background. Okay, then it's a micro hit. It becomes a background practice when I am focusing on doing the dishes and I have a practice in the background. So my attention is on the movement, on everything that is to do with washing dishes, and a bit of my attention is on the practice. With regard to which practice you can use just see, just hear, just feel. You can focus on your breath, or you can focus on the entire see, hear, feel spectrum while doing your dishes. Making sense?
Yeah, yes, Preeti.
Yeah.
I've actually tried doing it earlier, and I maybe it was too early, but when I was trying to do a mindfulness, this thing because I enjoy doing I
Dishes.
enjoy washing dishes.
Yeah. Yeah.
It somebody somehow took away the enjoyment because when you do without being conscious, maybe it is the initial stage and I'm putting an effort to be mindful.
Yeah.
So it became an effort where I was enjoying the feel and it was flowing. For
Yeah.
me, then I think I should focus or I should do background practice on things which are not very interesting to me. That's what I feel. It was maybe too early in this
Try
journey.
it and see, but ideally it should not be effort, because any which way you're washing the dishes, all you're doing is you're noticing and you're adding a label to it. You're even more present with what you're doing. So ideally, it should not be seem that effortful in that sense, but try it, experiment and see what works for you, right? So ultimate key is interest, opportunity, necessity you will use to pick your practice, which practice are you going to do? Okay. Now, if I ask you to drop into a micro hit is a short burst of practice. Some people said I focused on the breath. Some people said I focused on, the voice. Some focused on touch points, right? Now, in daily life, can you at least do 5 to 7 micro hits in a day based on your schedule? Can you put a pause in the day and drop into a practice at will? The idea of doing micro hits is that you should be able to drop into practice anytime you want to, right? So that's the idea of doing micro hits. So if you have your daily schedule, if someone is willing to just share broadly what your schedule looks like, let's just see how you can plug micro hits into it. Yes,
I can.
Rich. Yeah.
So from the morning till the night, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so it majorly looks like you wake up in the morning, you get your child ready for the school.
Yeah.
Then I prepare and have my breakfast. Then I sit to work at 10 a.m.
Yeah.
Then I keep moving around in the house for some short breaks. Or if I feel like something to munch on, I work from home.
Mm.
Then I prepare my lunch. I have my lunch, and then in the evening I go to pick up my son from his class.
Mm.
In the evening we have a dinner, and then we go to sleep by 9 p.m.
Okay, this is broadly your schedule. Okay, it might vary from day to day. Now, in a few things which don't change for probably anyone in this room is having 3 meals a day. Everyone, despite how busy you are, you'll have 3 meals a day. You'll brush twice a day. You'll bathe once a day at least, right? Automatically, these are 6 opportunities we have to do the practice. Six minutes of practice can be done effortlessly because this is something you're doing every single day. Now, why use any activity we are doing in the day to practice? Primarily because it is the easiest way to inculcate habit is to habit stack. Stack it with something that is already ingrained in your life. Brushing is already ingrained. Bathing is already ingrained. Maybe caveman never did it, but we are doing it. It doesn't need to be interesting, right? Eating is already ingrained, 3 meals a day. So why not use these 6 opportunities to start with for practice? One of the simplest ways to start practicing when you're brushing is put a sticker on the mirror and use that sticker as a visual cue to do a short practice. When you're brushing, the practice can be feel. You can notice the sensations around your mouth. It can be see, hear, feel. It can even be hear, but you need to pick one and stay with it every day, right? And it can also be movement. You're noticing the movement of your hand. You notice how you're brushing, right? So same with bathing, same with eating. With eating, in fact, it's the smell, it's the taste, and you can't do it all through when you're eating. At least the first morsel. Can you just look at a plate of meal that is in front of you? Can you just look at it 3 times in a day? Can you just pause and look at how your plate of meal looks? Most of us don't even look at it. Some people don't even remember what they've eaten or not eaten, right? So these are 6 short micro hits. These are suggestions I'm giving you. Now I'll ask you to also put in your own list of how you want to build your practice. But these 6 I have found for myself that no matter how busy I am, that drinking that cup of tea or coffee in the morning always happens. Anyone is in the hospital, I am unwell, I'm still drinking it, right? So that automatically becomes a practice anchor. That is one way of doing it. Now, the other ways of doing it is these are various ways in which you can practice in daily life, okay? Some common ways are exercising. Every day, people do some kind of workout, walking, exercising, doing something like that. Eating. Driving, if you're comfortable to. I am not very comfortable practicing while driving, so I don't do it. Listening to music, watching television. These are simple ways you can bring micro hits into daily life. The second one is when you're waiting in line, waiting for people to join a meeting, You're just, if you're a child, of course, if you're waiting for the class to start, when you're passively listening to someone. Right now, as you're listening to me, can you do a practice? At times, you might feel bored when someone is talking. So what is boredom? Boredom is a feeling. Notice the feeling. Notice the voice of the person. So no time ever is wasted for you. You can drop into practice at any point. Why we are doing this? To give more control to the prefrontal cortex, so that our rational seat of the brain is in control during times we feel distressed or destabilized. Okay. Now coming to connection times. A very powerful, and I might have shared this, a very powerful thing I noticed a few years before with my son was the fact that I told him good night every night, but sometimes I didn't even look at his face. It was like, I'm doing something, yeah, good night, right? So taking that moment of pause to look into people's faces within the family, right? When was the last time you looked into the eyes of people around you? When was the last time you noticed the lines on people's faces in your family, right? It's a short practice. Again, you're anchoring your attention into a real-time experience. Life is happening in front of you. So that is why we're doing this, right? Stress times, usually we use micro hits as bookendings before and after. So before I start a session, I always do a practice. At the end of the session, there's a practice. So when you're starting a meeting, ending a meeting, when you're getting into a difficult conversation, or even when you're struggling with completing a task before and after that task, using bookendings, practice as bookending can be very powerful, right? Then, of course, physical times, brushing, bathing, cleaning, dusting. We've done some of these practices, but just again, being very intentional about it. Why is it that when we work in organizations, so many things are getting done? Because there's a structure, there's a deadline, there's accountability. Whereas in our own life, everything takes a backseat because there's complete lack of structure. Oh, mindfulness, I'll do it. I'll do it tomorrow when I feel like, right? Yes, Ritu.
So for Preeti, when I take a bath, which I'm trying to inculcate, the habit is
Yeah.
gratitude. Because
Mhm.
you have all the time. So I start thanking from like I slept well, you know,
Yeah. Yeah.
I got up twice, but I slept well. And what happened well? So
Yeah.
then it become more of a feel because
Yeah.
I'm trying to, I don't, then it will be feel, feel, feel. And then otherwise you say you start visualizing those events uh, and make it a hair because it's better to be a feel practice then because ultimately you're thanking the universe for.
See, gratitude is always feel. Gratitude will always be a feel practice, but you're bringing up images and thoughts to trigger that feel. Making sense, Ritu?
Yeah, but that wouldn't that be then a distraction? Because if you were only focusing on the field, but then what happens is again, sorry, because I'm so new to mindfulness, people, I don't want it to take away because
Yeah.
you've been, I'm not saying mindfulness is mechanical, for the lack
Yeah.
of a better word,
Yeah.
because when you are so happy and you're so thankful, does
Yeah.
it matter whether you're not mindful because you are thanking?
The
I don't know what
question,
I'm.
yeah. So the question is, see, ultimately, the reality in front of you is you're having a bath. Okay, there is water that is in front of you. You're cleaning your body. Now the question is, do you want to stay connected with it, or do you want to disconnect with it? Do you not want to connect with the bathing experience because it's mundane, it's boring, it's ordinary? Is that why you want to hang into a gratitude practice because that feels better?
Yeah,
Yeah. Okay. Then okay. So there are two things. Okay. There's nothing wrong with doing a gratitude practice as you're bathing. That's one thing. Because at the end of the day, you're still training your attention. Okay. But the second thing is life as it is happening to you is happening in the mundane, in the boring bath, right? Now, if it is boring, can you be okay with that experience being boring and keep that in the background and come back to the process of bathing, which is life itself as it is happening? Is that making sense?
yeah, pretty maybe, otherwise making that mundane feel
Yeah.
exciting. Say, I'm thankful I have water. Not
But
everybody has running
why
water.
should you make the mundane exciting?
But why is it mundane then? Why, it might not be, because till the time I have it,
Yeah,
I'm feeling it is mundane. But
yeah.
had it not been there, it would have been a challenge. So, the fact is that if you are,
Yeah,
I
if
don't know,
you're,
I don't
see,
know.
if you're grateful for the having the water, it's fine. But no, the question I'm asking you, Ritu, is that does doing a see or feel while bathing, or just doing a feel while bathing, is that a challenge?
Not exactly, but then there are preferences. Body has its,
Exactly. Yeah. So there are preferences, right? So where does the preference fall into from the skills category? From the equanimity piece,
absolutely.
right? The push and pull, aversion and craving, right? So I like this, I don't like this, I want this, I don't want this. Now the question is, there's nothing wrong with going with that preference of doing a gratitude practice and feeling good. There's nothing wrong with it. You're still building your skill, but for practice in daily life with what is in front of you, can learning to be okay with boredom coming up is the way you build the skill. The skill building does not only happen when you're feeling good, feeling excited, feeling wonderful about your experience. Skill building is happening when, even when you're feeling icky about an experience, or you're feeling blah about an experience. The preference is the state of the mind, is the label the mind attaches to it.
Understood, Preeti. Understood.
Yeah,
Yeah.
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 So
Yeah.
I would recommend doing just a feel practice and being okay with it. Of course, you can toggle between a gratitude and a see here feel practice also. If you feel that, okay, I also want the excitement, I also want to toggle between both and see how it works for you.
Understood. Sure.
Yeah,
Thank
yeah.
you.
Thank you. So with mind times, checking your phone when you're doom scrolling is a great time to actually drop into a practice and check, why are you really doing it? What is the emotional state when you're doing when you're doom scrolling? Is there any associated thoughts? Is there an avoidance why you're actually doom scrolling or doing anything like that? You can always use practice for that. And in terms of also, when you're, the general rule of thumb is, when you're upset, irritated, angry, your first responsibility is to downregulate yourself. Your first responsibility towards yourself is to downregulate and calm yourself down. It is not to prove anyone wrong or to say anything. It's like how they say in the flight, oxygen mask on self before anything else. So that is one of the reasons we use these practices also, to downregulate ourselves when we move out of our tolerance levels. Now, but for us to be able to apply it at those times, it needs to be such a muscle memory that you're applying it through the day every time, that automatically it happens effortlessly, that you know which anchor to go into when you are getting dysregulated, right? That is why the consistent practice becomes very important. Now coming to how we will actually do it, there is an Asia worksheet. I will share this Asia worksheet with you. If it feels too jargony for anyone, this is very simple. What we are doing is we are structuring our practice. Okay. Why are we structuring our practice? Because if you don't structure your practice, you will go years and years and years hopping into various systems and not having any change happening in your life. Shinzen, in fact, says that for mindfulness practice, for you to know if you've progressed, your daily life has to improve. Your daily life has to change. It doesn't matter if you're doing a 6-hour practice or a 10-day retreat 10 times in a year, but if your daily life is not shifting, there's no point. So here we have analyze, strategize, implement, and assess. So analyzes, reflect on your day. When and where can you actually apply practice? Reflect on your own schedule. We'll take some time right now. I'll share the spreadsheet. You don't want to use a spreadsheet, absolutely fine. Feel free to use a notepad and pen to do these. When and where can you apply mindfulness practice? I would suggest don't use a time. Use an activity with which you can apply mindfulness practice. The chances of you doing is way higher. Second is strategize. Decide which technique you're going to apply along with that particular task. Because a lot of times we spend a lot of time wondering which practice to do. But whereas when you know clearly that which practice is going with what, it gets easier. When I teach, there are two types of practices I use. One is a feel rest practice to ground myself. Either I keep a part of my attention on my body weight on the chair or my feet on the floor. And the second is I notice the pitch of my voice, because I have this tendency to go very high pitched when I am teaching. So there's a part of my attention on the pitch of my voice. So, but this I had to use different practices and see what really works for me when I'm doing this particular activity. So you'll have to do the same for yourself, right? So strategizes, pick a practice and try it. If it works, great. If it doesn't work, then you change the practice. Then you implement, do it every single day. Assess, was it a success, was it not? And success doesn't mean you feeling good about the practice. Success means you're able to do the practice. Are you able to really be with the practice? That is what success counts for here. And if there's a challenge, of course, come back and we'll discuss it, right? So I'm just putting, is it making sense so far, or is it seeming like, how does it sound? All good? It's okay? Okay. So I'm just sharing the spreadsheet. Okay, why does it say cannot be shared? Because of the file size? I don't think it's such a big file. Okay. Okay, I'll put it up in the WhatsApp group. And if you can access it from there, and I'll open it here. Is that okay? Great. I have just shared it in the WhatsApp group. Now I'll just share my screen here, what it looks like, okay? And if anyone is getting overwhelmed seeing Excel sheets, because I had this particular person from procurement, and he was so mad at me because I opened a spreadsheet. He said, "Madam, all through the day I have to work with spreadsheets, and here also you're giving me a spreadsheet. Don't worry, you don't need to use a spreadsheet. It's not to traumatize you, it is just to get some structure to the practice, right?" So start with basically, I mean, here is some text, you can go through it in a bit. So basically, the idea is you start with some goal in mind, okay? For say the practice goal can be to improve concentration. Try to be as specific as possible. It can be to improve concentration while working. It can be to be more emotionally regulated when I'm speaking to XYZ or when I'm interacting with XYZ. Pick one as a goal, a broad goal, and just leave it there. We will review it every few months. In fact, Shinzen gives something very beautiful known as maximum meditation mileage, which is basically this spreadsheet is designed so that you can maximize. You are already practicing, you're taking time out to attend these sessions. So why not maximize it? Why not bring it across your entire day? That's the goal of having this spreadsheet. So just have a goal in mind. And once you have the goal, what I want you to do is think of every day, when would you like to do your formal practice? Formal practice is the 10-minute practice that we do together. It can be 8 a.m., 9:30 p.m. when we do. What happens if you miss out on it? When is a time that you can do it? Just think of it, put it down here. Ideally, when would be a task that you would do? Say, for example, before work can be one way of putting it, before I start my work day. Where it can be work desk. Ideal is having a cushion somewhere in the house. So James Clear calls this as it's comes under environmental design. So basically, when that place you look at, you haven't done the practice, it's a cue again, a visual cue that you haven't done the practice. Okay, so that becomes helpful. And why we are doing the when and where is so that there is an intention to implement very clearly. It's not like tomorrow I'm doing the practice, but I'm doing it just before I start work. I'm doing it at my work desk. What technique? You can pick a see, hear, feel, or whatever technique aligns with you, right? For some people, this might be I will do my formal practice in the puja, right? It can be I will do my formal practice in my puja room. What technique? I'm going to be chanting. Absolutely valid practice. Okay, so your formal practice can also be when you're doing yoga, where your entire attention is on the body movement. Then that becomes a formal practice, right? Where you're fully absorbed into the movement and the practice. That becomes a formal practice. Then you put done or not done at the end of the day, and you review it at the end of the day. Now, informal practice, micro hit and background practice, I would invite you to find at least 6 pockets for micro hits, 6 tasks with which you can do micro hits. When, put where, put what technique. If you want to just stick with see, hear, feel, or feel, it's absolutely fine. If you want to do different techniques, that's also fine. Background practice, do it with one person every day and one task. A task can be while picking up the phone each time I'm going to do a background practice. A person can be when I'm talking to someone, I'm going to use a background practice, right? We'll do the background practice in a bit, but just first take some time, reflect, and see if you, based on your schedule, if you're able to bifurcate and put these down. Any questions coming up, feel free to unmute and ask. A simple way to do micro hits, like for me, one micro hit I do every time I walk to the washroom. I do an auto move practice. So it's automatically a micro hit. It's ingrained right now because the moment I start walking, it's like there's a practice on. Climbing stairs, there's a practice on. So just find something to anchor into in your daily life so that you have a practice on with that.
So, ma'am, the practice I'm most comfortable is with auto move
Yeah.
while doing everything.
Yeah.
So, when I'm eating my meal, I observe how my morsel is running in my mouth from left to right and how am
The
I swallowing
chewing.
it.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, that is auto move only, right?
Yeah, that is auto move. That is auto
Okay.
move. So it's see, that's what, no, see, ultimately we are focusing on the same thing, which is the human body, okay? Human body or your environment. It's just that you're using different lenses at each time. Sometimes you're focusing on the movement, sometimes you can focus on the taste. So being clear about what your focus is becomes important when you're doing your practice. That's about it. You can also switch to, say, for example, you're eating something really tasty, okay? And today you decide that I want to focus on the taste. It's absolutely fine. This basically is to give you a structure that you're not really in the moment of practice. You're wondering which practice to do and you're like, chuck it, tomorrow I'll do. This is just to give you that structure. That's about it.
Well, Preeti, otherwise you do a see, hear, feel when you're eating. Like I normally sit alone when I eat all by
Yeah.
myself, my lunch.
Yeah.
No TV, nothing on. So when I'm doing maybe today, starting today, I'll look at the food and say, okay, these are the colors on my plate. So I'm seeing when I put the morsel in my mouth and then the feel part or the texture. When
Yeah.
I'm eating, obviously there is a sense of gratification, the feel part.
Yeah.
And I keep on switching between here, see and feel.
Hear and feel. Yeah. You can do a see, hear, feel. That's what, no, the beauty is you can use any of the practices anywhere, okay? The key is what interests you, what opportunity does life present, and what is a necessity, right? Sometimes if you are with a bunch of people, maybe just the taste of food, constantly looking at the food and tasting the food, it might seem weird. You're not interacting with others. So in a place like that, so probably focusing on movement is a lot easier than focusing on smell, taste, and look of the food, right? So just figuring out based on interest, opportunity, necessity, which practice do you want to apply. And I would say right now, actually make this intention. How many micro hits in the day? Where, when and what technique.
Understood.
Yeah. Yeah, because see, one thing I figured for myself, I did this for initially for 3 to 4 weeks. I did it like in a structured manner where I used to put it in a spreadsheet and do it. The biggest challenge is remembering to do it.
Yeah, that's true.
It's not even putting it down, but the moment you're writing it or you're putting it down somewhere, you're setting the intention. It sets things in flow to an extent, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
One thing I want to share, I
Yeah.
practiced auto move while eating.
Yeah.
I think you mentioned it somewhere. And while I was eating, I noticed the movement of my hand
Yeah.
while I was eating, and I realized that even if I'm sitting all by myself, I am eating too fast. My the first bite is not even over, and my hand is already the food next bite is already ready to go into my mouth.
Yeah.
So I started resting my hand on my lap until the first bite is finished. That automatically reduces my portion size and increases the time for which I'm eating my food.
Yeah, yeah. And there's a beautiful gut brain connection. Your gut takes about 20 minutes to inform your brain that it's full. So
Yeah.
we end up overeating because we eat so fast. In 5, 7 minutes, we're done with our meal, right? So we end up overeating. Just the insight, Richa, I think that was a deep insight for you, where you had the insight that, I don't need to rush through this.
Yes.
Right, I don't need to rush, right? And sometimes, to be honest, a lot of this is inculcated in childhood, where we've been told to eat fast.
Yeah. And
E-
I realized we were doing the same. I was doing the same to my child. Jaldi khao, jaldi
yeah,
khao.
yeah, absolutely, absolutely. So that becomes a challenge, right? So this is how we pick up these habits. And it's great to have that insight that, okay, I can slow my eating down now, I can pause, and I can kind of come back, right? I can. And you saw how it reduced the portion size also, how much you were eating.
It increases the chewing also, because
Yes.
otherwise my focus, we are so mindless while eating, just stuffing our mouth and be done
Yeah.
with the meal.
Yeah.
But when I'm setting my hand, I'm just putting my hand on the lap, then
Yeah.
I'm free, my mind is free what to do now. So I would focus on chewing, I would focus on the food that is going around in my mouth.
Yeah.
So that automatically brings the mindfulness.
Yeah, yeah. And your concentration is on the moment. Your sensory
Yes.
clarity is how your body is actually doing all this by itself. You just
Yes.
set the intention to eat, and your body is doing it by itself, right?
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
wonderful, wonderful. Thank you, Richa, for sharing that. So, have everyone put down their micro hits?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. And if you haven't, just take the time to do it, because this is one of the most valuable parts of the practice that I found in my own life, that bringing practice to daily life was the biggest thing. Now, coming to background practice, okay? We are about, how many of us are there? Just 1 second. So background practice, I would want you to now go either to a task around you, do it, take about 2 minutes to do the task. It can be a chore, it can be just tidying up your desk, organizing your desk. Have 80% of the attention on the task and 20% on the practice. The practice can be focusing on the breath, it can be focusing on your feet on the floor, can be auto move, focusing on the movement of the hands, or it can also be, what do you call it? Just feel, just hear, just see, whichever one you want to pick. But decide the practice and the task and go do it. Take about, how many minutes do you want to take? Take about 5 minutes. It's okay. Take 5 minutes and come back.
Just
Finish.
one question.
Yeah.
So when we are trying to focus, isn't that again a micro hit? Because even if I'm
Yeah.
20% focused in the practice,
Yeah.
I have to bring my attention. So that is also a micro hit, right? Even if it is a very
No,
short span.
micro hit would be, say for example, a micro hit is where my entire attention is on the practice itself. Okay. Whereas in this, if I'm folding clothes, okay, say for example, I'm folding clothes and I'm doing a C. right?
Mm.
I'm looking around, I'm doing a see, I'm doing a feel. Then a part of my attention is on the practice and not entirely on that. So that becomes a background practice. So a background practice can also be something where you're entirely connected with this. And the beauty of background practice is you don't need to do it continuously. It doesn't, there's no time limit. Like I can do it all through when I'm folding clothes, or I can do it whenever I kind of feel I have moved away from what I'm doing. That's when I can do it also. So, but a micro hit will be, I'll be only practicing.
So my micro hit is also while doing an activity, right? But
No, micro hit can be while not doing an activity also. It can be when you're just sitting also. Micro hit can also happen then, but your entire attention is only on the practice in micro hit. Right? So for example, if I'm picking this glass up, okay, that's a task. Okay, let's say this is a task and my entire attention is on the feeling of the glass. Okay, it's cold, I'm feeling the sensation. That's a micro hit. Okay, but whereas if I am picking the glass up and I'm just in the background, I have a practice on, that's a background practice.
So when you set your intention कि अभी मुझे ये करना है, that is a micro hit. But while you're doing it, so the task, the background practice can at one point be clubbed with a micro hit also. So while I'm folding the laundry, I can decide to do a micro hit and I can simply focus on the
sensation,
practice.
on feel or auto move, whatever you're focusing on. Then it becomes a micro. A micro hit is nothing but a practice which is less than 10 minutes. Okay. A background practice is something which can come and go.
Transient.
Okay. And a background practice is something where your entire attention is not on the practice, it is on the task. But you have a bit. A background practice becomes very helpful in conversations we have with people. It becomes very helpful to manage ourselves and regulate ourselves. Because when you're doing a background practice with a person, in fact, it would be nice to have people in breakout rooms. I will just put you in breakout rooms, 2 people. You will do a background practice along with the other person. So one person will share a little about themselves and the other person will use a background practice as they listen. Okay. So because background practice becomes very helpful in grounding yourself. When somebody is speaking, can you do a background practice? That is the goal. So first we'll do a chore, an activity with the background practice, and then we will do a conversation with the background practice. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah. So we will put you in breakout rooms. Not breakout rooms. You can
Preeti?
go first. Yeah.
Yeah, I have to leave. There's some urgent work.
No
We'll
worries.
catch up later. It was really nice, and I would definitely like to be doing it every day. I will just talk to you later and try and fill up whatever I missed.
Sure.
Thank you
Sure.
so much.
Thank
Preeti.
you. Thank you. Bye-bye. So we'll get started with practice in daily life, the chore. Pick a chore, 5 minutes. You have 5 minutes. You can go do the chore and come back. Right? We are at 48. I'll see you at 53. Right? Pick a practice also that you will do with the chore as a background practice. Okay, it can even be typing an email, which is not heavy cognitive, where you are mechanically typing and a part of your attention is on the practice. You can even toggle between. So if you're typing, in between you can pause, do the practice, come back to the task. That is also fine. Okay, so we'll get started. You have 5 minutes to do the task and come back. you're back. Just let me know. Great. Yeah, Ritu.
So, Preeti, I had few dusters with me. I was trying to fold.
Yeah.
But when I started doing the C, it was taking away, it was taking time because, I was holding on to the duster and trying to understand and look at the colors. I said, then it's slowing me down. I said, just leave it, let's do auto move. So
Mhm.
that was easier because, I was able to appreciate the movements and what movements are happening.
Yeah.
So, yeah, so that was
And Ritu, when you're doing see, hear, feel, it just means that where your attention is drawn to, you're seeing that experience. If it is drawn to the duster, it is you're anyway seeing it. So you don't have to pause and see and describe it, if that is making sense.
Yeah, but if there were, what was it? It was a piece of like Purane kapde ko pieces the.
Ha.
So it had patterns, it had colors, it had some ambi design. So
Yeah,
I was
yeah,
trying to notice everything. It wasn't a checkered one.
yeah.
So it was taking me time to look at the intricacies. Though I folded it so many times, but I've never looked at it like
Looked
that.
at it. Yeah. Okay. And you found auto move was a lot more helpful in
Yeah,
that
in
case.
that case, auto
Yeah.
move.
So start applying practices like that and see what works for you in your daily life, right? I might
Right.
say, see here, feel works great, but if it doesn't for you, it's absolutely fine.
So see
You
here,
do
feel
the
is
practice.
great. I mean, now when I'm talking to you, I can see plants which are hibiscus growing beautiful. I can keep
Yeah.
on looking at it.
Yeah.
Uh, but when I was doing this, and second was in terms of equanimity, I'm talking only in terms of my own experience.
Yeah.
But initially, when you used to do
Yeah.
feel rest. So with the aches and pains and the stretches, it was difficult. But
Yeah.
then you taught us that you can always find rest. And,
Yeah.
which I'm very comfortably able to find rest. But
Yeah.
now my mind is started loving rest so much that if in my left leg there is sensation, it will not go there. It will keep on saying rest, rest, rest because there's so much rest. So now
Yeah.
suddenly from one extreme I move to the other. For me, a sensation like a pain is not a good thing to
Yeah.
anchor to. So it is, my own
Yeah.
experience. I wanted to
Yeah,
share.
no, and that's what we have to be kind to our mind. You don't need to push yourself to look at the pain if it is difficult to right now. That is why we start understanding what our tolerance levels are and then working with it. It's okay to not look at it, but it's also okay to say that, yeah, I know that's difficult, but let's try staying with the pain for some time. Right?
Yeah, no, I know.
And that might be a way to
Yeah.
desensitize, but there's no
Yeah.
need to rush into it right now. If you're finding rest, you're able to stay with rest, just stay with rest. It's
Right.
absolutely fine because it's a rewarding experience. The body feels good about it. So that's
Exactly.
absolutely fine to do that.
Thank you.
Right? Great.
Thank
So now we'll get into, it looks like quite a few people left in the meantime, because I don't know if it was because of the breakout room, but yeah, let me just put you guys into a breakout room. It'll be, yes, Richa?
No, nothing to ask me.
Okay. So basically it'll be 1 second, where you will listen to the other person. You will have a practice on as you listen to the other person. Okay. Each of you will talk for about 2 minutes each, and you will just hear the other person out using a background practice. And before you start, the next person starts talking, you will tell which practice you used, and you can start talking, right? So I will just assign one person will stay in this room with me. Yes, here you go. Oh, I think I assigned everyone to the same room, room 2. Yeah, great. Ankur, I think you're here with me in this room. I think the rest of you can join the other rooms. Yeah, great. So Ankur, we can do the practice together of background practice. So if you have any practice you'd like to try as a background practice, do you have any idea of what practice you'd like to use as a background?
Just here, I will think.
Just here?
Yes.
Okay. So a few options. One you can use here. You can feel your feet on the floor. That is the other option. The third one is you can use see, hear, feel, complete see, hear, feel, outer experiences, if that helps. So these are a few, right? So you're sticking with just here. So I will just talk for, I didn't even see how long is the breakout room. 1 second. It's a 15-minute one. I'll have to break it down, but it's okay. We'll get them back in a few minutes. I didn't set the time, my bad. So basically, let me start talking, okay? My name is Preeti Balan. I am a mindfulness trainer, and one of the reasons background practice has been very helpful to me is understanding how I feel in a situation. That's where background practice has immensely helped me. And it has helped me catch myself when I'm getting emotionally dysregulated. And it has also helped me be able to ground myself in those situations, because there is some form of anchor in the background that is constantly on. So it has helped me in both those ways. Today, I am planning to apply a practice of here as I listen to you when you're practicing. That's a little bit what I wanted to share, if that is okay. Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. So you can go on, and I'll just add a message to the breakout rooms saying that we will just.
Should I continue?
Yeah, you can start, please.
Yeah. Good morning, Preeti. So the thing that you taught about this micro hit practice, so I try to do it while brushing twice a day. So that is the time that I do regularly. Other time I have to remind myself. Sometimes I escape while eating or using mobile or doing calls.
Yeah.
So those times are not regular, but the brushing time works very well. And another thing that while doing yoga, while doing just feel the yoga is yoga practices are getting better, because while doing yoga poses also sometimes mind wanders and it is not focusing on breath.
Yeah.
So I try to do just feel at that time, so focusing on the body part. So the focus remains on the yoga, and that is where practices improve and yoga practices improve.
Okay, so you're able to do it even with yoga, and with brushing, you're able to do it. Other times you mentioned you can't
Other
remember.
times is not regular. I will try to.
Yeah. No, that's the goal this month, that we all should try to, inculcate it and bring it about, right? So wonderful. So when I was talking, were you able to apply a background practice?
Yes, actually, I chose just here. So, but since I was looking at you, so I will also sense was also the sense was getting distracted in seeing also.
See,
So
yeah. So that
because
will,
my eyes was open, so that is why if eyes was closed, then I could have just here would have worked better.
Yeah. So, but the thing is, when say you're in a meeting, right? We don't have the choice to close our eyes. So that becomes so you're obviously you're going to be bombarded with a lot of information, even when you're having a small background practice, right? It can be just here. So the moment you notice that you're moving away from what the person is saying, you're zoning out or you're drifting away, then you come back to the practice. So the beauty of background practice is you don't need to apply it all through. It can even be, okay, I'm noticing I'm zoning out here, right? Mentally using a label, even that becomes helpful. And if in case you feel that you're very drawn to the seeing for whatever reason, right? Say all videos are on, people are talking and everything, then you can just use see as a label and stay with it. The goal is we are training our attention to stay with something which is in reality, which is happening, instead of drifting away. That is the ultimate goal. So,
yes.
Yeah. And we start, let others also come back, then we'll share that we start from simple tasks to complex tasks. So when you're probably writing an email, it might be a lot more challenging to do a practice and write an email.
Yes, the tasks which require cognitive, those it will be difficult.
Those it will be difficult. So in those tasks, we toggle our attention. So you kind of place your attention a little on doing the task, then you bring your attention to practice, go back to doing the task. That's what we'll do. So I'll just quickly close the breakout room. It'll take them 60 seconds anyway to come back, but yeah. Yes, Ritu, I think we should be. Were you able to speak to your partner in the breakout room?
Yeah. But
You
will
were.
it be live stream? So
No, it won't be.
Okay.
Only the main room is live stream. Only Ankur gets live streamed.
Which is good. Which is great.
Yeah. That's the advantage of breakout rooms. Like, what people share there will stay there. It doesn't even get recorded even in regular Zoom calls.
But now will it be when you ask us to talk about, then then I don't know.
Yeah, it will be. It will be.
Okay.
Yeah, you don't have to share the personal details, but you can
Yeah.
always share about, were you able to apply the background practice or not? Right? So we'll just wait. Pratiksha and Richa are also here. Welcome back. So if you could share, were you able to apply the background practice as you were listening to your partner?
Yes, ma'am, I was.
Yeah.
I was able to focus on the breathing.
Yeah.
In the conversation, I was able to interpret the joyfulness in her voice just and immediately after she started laughing. So I could interpret the voice modulation that helped my brain to interpret that Pratiksha is going to be happy now or she's going to laugh now.
Okay. But your main background practice was
Was
focusing on your breath.
मैम हियर नहीं होगा ये मतलब अच्छा अपने पे प्रैक्टिस करना था मैं तो प्रतीक्षा पे कर रही थी I was listening to her.
No, you're listening to her, but the background practice can be, you can use here to listen to her. You can use to feel your own body, to feel grounded. You're anchoring your attention basically in one experience or with see, hear, feel, so that at any given time you're fully present in that experience. So if you use Pratiksha as a focus object for your practice, it's absolutely fine.
Okay.
It's absolutely fine. But that it is easier to keep ourselves in the practice, because sometimes if you're getting activated by the other person, it can get challenging in those cases.
Yes, ma'am.
Right? Yeah. Anyone else?
So Preeti, for me, I was wanting to focus, on the hair part of it when Sangeeta was telling me about herself. Looking at a beautiful face, when she was talking, the honesty with which it was coming, suddenly it became feel, where a person is trying to say that I could not be part of the mindfulness practice daily, but I intend to, and I can understand that part of it. So the feel took over. I feel that as if I know her for long and I want to keep on hearing her. I even requested her that if you can switch on your video. I could see her and then the connect, and suddenly I don't know what went to the practice from here. It became a feel. And I feel good about it.
But that's what you need to find, which is your core practice that will keep you grounded. Even in, so we are doing it with mundane conversations. These are people we don't know. They are neutral, right? So it's a lot easier to do a practice. Whereas in life situations where it gets challenging, keeping the practice on and being grounded can get very difficult. So we do it with one person every day, one person who is a neutral person in our life. Okay? Can be, say, somebody who helps us, can be a colleague, a co-worker. We don't do it with people who we are already having a lot of emotional activation from. We start with mundane, simple, and then we build our complexity levels for background practice. Even with tasks, you will start with simple tasks like folding clothes, then bring it to more complex tasks. And I was just telling Ankur, with background practice, the beauty is you can toggle. You can focus completely on what Sangeeta says, and you can bring a part of the practice into in between you can bring the practice, you can come back to the practice, you can feel your feet on the floor. Thank you, Pratiksha. Bye. So you can also toggle, or as you're doing the task you can practice. Both are fine. So sometimes as you're doing the task, practicing can be difficult for some of us, so we can always toggle. You can choose to just listen to the person and then come to the practice once in a while. But the goal is we are anchoring ourselves time and again, right? Sangeeta, anything for you that came up?
Yeah, Preeti. So the moment when you started saying that each one of us will be, you will be assigning each one of us in a room. So I was just little hesitant that what I need to do, because I'm
Yeah.
not doing this practice regularly, which I
Yeah.
wanted to
Yeah.
do it. And suddenly it was Ritu. So Ritu is someone who has seen every day in the poll also and the messages also.
Yeah.
And with the messages, it states straight away gets into your head that she is a very positive person. In the sense, the gratitude
Yeah.
comment also, which she posts every Sunday, I
Yeah.
generally read, go through the entire chat. No
Yeah.
matter I'm not able to do the practice consistently, but I go
Yeah.
ensure that I'm reading all the communications or all the correspondence, whatever gets exchanged
Yeah.
in that group.
Yeah. Yeah.
So for me, I have a very positive mindset for Ritu, and suddenly her name came, so I was completely into a comfortable zone.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know, I got that feeling, very
Yeah.
positive feeling. That was one
Yeah.
thing. And when she asked me to switch on the camera, I was very comfortable, so that I know someone.
Yeah.
She's a person who I know.
Yeah.
So the conversation started, and I could focus. That time also, I was thinking what I need to do, what I need to do. But
Yeah.
hearing her, feeling the emotions, that was a core. I was anchoring myself to that to
Yeah,
act.
yeah.
See
So,
a
so
fear.
the beauty of practice is, Sangeeta, there is no what you need to do. You're
Yeah.
alive only now. So you can just start doing it now. I think we spend so much of our life in this idea of perfection that we
Yeah.
forget to just be with what is present, right? So don't beat yourself up. Whenever you see a message, use that as a practice reminder. Just see the message for a few seconds, right? You're still anchoring your attention into the present when you're doing it. You're
Sure.
still training your mindfulness skills, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So that's the goal. I'm glad to hear that. And a background practice is something that, as you rightly said, you were able to anchor your attention into the here, into the feel. You can anchor your attention into any real-time experience and do the background practice. Right now, at the end of the day, see, ultimately everything is made by humans. Okay, we are basically doing all this to create some sense for the mind, giving the mind an orientation, right? Ultimately we can choose to anchor into anything we want in the present.
Yeah.
Doesn't
True,
matter,
Preeti. Yeah.
right? Yeah. So wonderful. Thank you, Sangeeta. Thank you for joining and not holding back. That's another problem people have, that, oh, I haven't attended for so long. Should I come? Shouldn't I come? Thanks for just being here. Thank you.
Thank you, Preeti.
Thank you. So just very quickly, as usual, we have run over time, but very quickly, it would be great if you can actually have a minimum viable meditation. Minimum. It can be 2 minutes every day. 2 minutes, but I will not miss those 2 minutes every day. 5 minutes, I will not miss those 5 minutes every day, right? I suggest this for physical activity. I suggest this for meditation as well. Have something which is baseline. No matter what happens in your life, you can keep it going. The ultimate thing is you need to bring practice into daily life, and a few ways to do it is using see, hear, feel, using feel, rest. You can also use chanting, use God's name, whatever resonates with you as an anchor to come back to the present moment, right? One thing to watch out for: bringing practice into daily life is highly challenging. Rewards are not highly palpable. You won't see drastic changes happening in your life immediately. But the key is to keep at it and to keep going. The benefit of doing this is quality over quantity. You can bring it into specific issues in your daily life if you're practicing consistently. You can apply it anytime, anywhere. No place becomes a boring place. So I'm somebody who's not very social. I mean, I meet people socially, but I don't enjoy social settings a lot. So that is my biggest practice opportunity. So I love social settings these days because it becomes a place to practice, right? So find different, things you don't like. That is your invitation to practice, right? Bring practice there. And ultimately, it's about working smart in your daily life and building your skills. The key difference between formal, micro hit, and background practice, the intention of where you're placing your attention. Formal, micro hit, entire attention on the practice. Background practice, small percentage of attention on the practice. So for this entire month, we will be doing this. We will break it down. Every day I will give you a few micro hits to do. I will give you a few micro hit audios to do, and I will put reminders for you to do your background practice with at least one person and one task. That is something that I'd invite you to do. So that is it from me for today. If you have any questions or anything, you can feel free to ask, else it's absolutely fine.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Richa. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Preeti. Thanks, Siddharth.
Thank you,
Preeti,
Ritu.
madam.
Thank
Thank you.
you.
Thank you, Preeti.
Thank you,
Thank you,
Sangeeta.
everyone. Thanks, Sangeeta.
Bye-bye.